Hello, lover. You've just entered a portal of pleasure, power, and deep, unapologetic sensuality. This is Talk Tantra to Me, where we liberate your authentic self, reclaim the wisdom of the body, and let pleasure lead the way. I'm your guide, Leola, tantrika, pleasure priestess, best-selling author of Sacred Sex Ed, and devoted student of the erotic mysteries. I'm here to strip away shame and awaken your most radiant, sacred, and sensual self. Get in, babe. We're conspiring for your most pleasurable life and seducing the world into a greater good. So, take a deep breath with a vocal exhale, relax that delicious body of yours, and let's talk Tantra. Imagine what could happen if you decided every sexual experience got you closer to your highest self and God. That is a quote that comes straight out of my best-selling book, Sacred Sex Ed. Sacred Sex Ed is the sex education that you never had, but that we all desperately need. One that is empowering, honest, and pleasure-based. It is the pathway to a future in which we feel empowered by our desires rather than a slave to them, in which we feel celebratory of our nakedness and vulnerability. Sacred Sex Ed is creating a world where we can openly and emphatically talk about the energy and acts that brought us into it. This book is not diagrams of genitals, nor is it Kama Sutra positions. It's about having deeply fulfilling intimacy, starting with yourself, with your beloved, and with the world. You can pick it up right now on Amazon. Just search Sacred Sex Ed or find the link to purchase it in the show notes. Can't wait to hear what you think. Let's get back to the episode. Howdy ho, boys and girls. I am recording from my bed today, which is a nice little change. It actually brings me back to the old days of Talk Tantra to Me, which is where I first started recording 5 years ago in 2020 in November/October. I think it might have been October. It was around this time of year. I created this podcast from my bed in Los Angeles. Today I live in Austin, Texas, so it's a different bed. And this podcast has gone through so many iterations and we've had so many incredible guests. I'm so grateful that I get to keep doing this with you guys. And this is also going to be the final episode for a minute. I will be taking another seasonal break, enjoying the holidays. My husband and I are going to Europe for 3 weeks. I'm going to be facilitating at an event in Scotland. I did this one last year as well. I talked about it in another episode, but that'll be really juicy and fun. I can't believe that I'm in this place in my career where I am getting all expenses paid trips to Europe and plus pay on top of that. So feeling incredibly grateful, so stoked. And then we are adding on some additional trips as well. So we're going to fly into London, spend a few days there. On our way up to Scotland, we're going to stop in Wales for a couple of days. Andrew's last name is actually Welsh, and that last name is also now my last name. So our last name is Welsh. I also have like 1% Welsh heritage according to my ancestry results. So it'll be a moment for us to both really connect to our ancestry and our lineage is coming together. So I'm really looking forward to that. Going to be doing some rituals, going to be visiting some sacred sites. And then we'll go to Scotland for the week. I actually have Scottish heritage, but this will be my 3rd time in Scotland. And then we will be going to Milan for a few days. I love Milan. It has been it's been more than 10 years since I've been. I went when I was studying abroad in Ireland 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. I was 20. So it was 11 years ago, or was it 12 years ago? I was either 19 or 20. Either way, it's been a minute and I loved that city. At the time I was studying fashion. That's what I studied in college. And Milan has the best fashion. I think that people anticipate Paris being the most stylish city, but in my opinion, Milan is so much more stylish because it's way more ornate. Their fashion is so much more colorful. It's so much more bold. Like you go to Paris and there's kind of like a Parisian uniform that's like sneakers, trendy, but usually like baggy jeans and like black, just like so much black. And while it looks put together, it doesn't really excite me in the way that I see Parisian fashion, or not in Parisian, Milanese fashion is just like bold patterns and colors and dripping in gold and high heels. And yeah, I'm really excited to take Andrew there because he also loves fashion. And then we are going to end in Paris though, because we both absolutely adore Paris. So after Milan, we'll be going to Paris for a week. And yeah, I'm really planning on just kind of leaning back and taking some relaxing time over the holidays. But I am 1,000,000% anticipating on being back at the podcast in the new year, probably starting in February. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling and what makes sense. But rest assured, I will be back. Thank you for your patience and grace as I surrender into the winter months. So with that being said, this last podcast episode, it's actually been a minute since I've recorded a solo episode. The last time I recorded a solo episode was actually in August, and I did it in such a way that I knew September was going to be so freaking packed, and it was. I had basically at the end of August, I went to LA for work, and then I came back, and then it was Andrew's birthday, which, you know, is a little bit of a production by choice. It's my choice, not even his necessarily. And then I went to New York for work, and then once I got back, I had 2 back-to-back retreats. We did I believe it was our 8th or our 9th Tantra Love retreat. Sold out again. It was so transformational. It felt really good to be doing this for now, like again, the 8th time. So this is a retreat that kind of looks the same pretty much every time we do it. So it was really good to just be in my mastery, be able to rinse and repeat, and again, though, get to feel the effects of the transmissions on our participants. And I ended up having a few participants come and join me in Pleasure Priestess and in one-to-one coaching. So I'm really grateful and excited about that we get to continue the journey with some of these individuals. And then we did our first ever more advanced retreat. This one was called Tantric Transformation. It was a little bit longer. And the best part about this was that it was like all of Justin and I's favorite clients, best clients, people that have like come back again and again into our work. They're individuals by and far, almost all of them, I think everyone but 3 of them out of 30 of us had already done the level 1 at least once, or they'd done Tantra Love Retreat. We're calling them level 1 and level 2, but that's not totally accurate because they kind of are completely different experiences. But anyways, so we did the Tantric Transformation, and it was really incredible. I am so excited to do this work again. It felt good to be in a place where I was kind of like at my growth edge as a facilitator as well. Both in my own facilitation, there were things that most of it I had facilitated before, but there were a few things that I, was facilitating in completely different ways. Like there were things that I had, just facilitated with women that I then was bringing into a co-ed space. Or there were things that I had facilitated online but hadn't facilitated in person. And there were just lots of really juicy new things that I got to experiment with. And then on top of it, I also got to be in the energy of trust with Justin, my co-facilitator. And the feedback that we got from this was incredible. It was so life-changing. Again, so many people had been to our level 1. And they, some of the feedback went along the lines of, I didn't think it could get better than the Tantra Love Retreat, but wow, Tantric Transformation just blew it out of the water. And it's really obviously awesome to hear that feedback, but it was mostly just such a juicy group of humans. I've done a lot of, tantric work and self-development work that is entry level or like friendly to all levels. And while I love those spaces, I love facilitating those spaces, and I also love being in those spaces and kind of seeing where the medicine, meets everyone, because I think that a lot of these spaces, it doesn't matter what level you are at, the transformation will kind of meet you based on where you're at. But anyways, but I love getting into containers where the participants are a bit more advanced. You're able to just go so deep and feel like the main thing is just feeling so met. I remember the very first time that I went to like an advanced level training, and I realized that I thought that I was introverted. I thought before going into this advanced training, I thought that I was introverted. I thought that I wanted to live alone, all of these things. And at this advanced retreat, I was sharing a dorm with 3 other women, and I was around people constantly. And I realized, oh no, I'm not an introvert. I just have high standards. And not to say that like, I don't want to be around you if you're not beginner or newer in the space or whatever, but it's just a really nice experience to be around people that have been walking the path for a minute and to see like what you're able to create and what's possible. And it was that experience, that advanced training that I did many years ago, that really inspired me to step into more leadership in creating my own containers. Anyways, the level 2 was dope. It was amazing. And yeah. So anyways, the point of me telling this was that September was crazy. October, I did record some podcast episodes. I did a bunch of guest episodes. Some of them have been released. And I also have one that's going to be released in the spring. So the podcast is for sure coming back, because we already have a podcast recorded that's going to come out in the spring, but I'm going to save it. But yeah, I haven't recorded a solo episode since August, which is crazy. I was really proud of myself at that time though, because I was getting so far ahead in my recording. I felt so on top of things because yeah, I recorded an episode in August that ended up coming out like in October, and I just felt like, yeah, like I'm on top of the world. I'm getting this stuff done. And now here I am kind of at the last minute recording an episode that's going to come out hopefully tomorrow. So yeah, anyways, this podcast episode, it's 10 minutes and we haven't even talked about what we're doing exactly, but this is a little bit of a life update, as a lot of the solo episodes are. And I have a really fun theme for today, or conversation topic. So over the weekend, I was in LA for a super secret work thing, which was really awesome. And I really can't wait to talk all about it, but I can't yet. And I actually don't know when I'm going to be able to. It kind of just depends on a few factors. But while I was out there, I remembered that I needed to record a podcast episode, but I didn't really have anything that was burning. Like, I looked at my list of all my podcast ideas and I was like, all of these are fine, but I kind of want to end on, for this season, quote unquote, I want to end on something just like different, something fun, something that you guys were really wanting as well. And so I decided to ask my Instagram audience, what do you guys want to hear? And I got so many incredible requests, many of which though I actually already had content that was related. So I ended up, sharing those episodes with those people that made those requests. But one of the suggestions that I really, really loved was Leola's favorite things, sharing just my favorite things. And I love this because I also love hearing people's favorite things. I love when people ungatekeep their secrets to living a life that feels juicy and in which they feel like they're thriving. And I want to know all the products and how they're spending their days and all of the things. And so I kind of feel like this episode is a bit like that. So I then followed up and asked, okay, favorite things, what favorite things do you want to know about? What categories? Tell me, what favorite thing of mine do you want to know? And so I got some answers from that as well. So I'm going to be answering those. And then I'm also going to be just adding some other things that I was like, here's what I would want to know about some random person that I followed on the internet, or someone that I admired, or someone that I felt like I had a kinship with, right? So we're going to go through this list. I haven't done this yet, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a very simple Google document that has like links to a lot of these things because yeah, I want to just make it easier for you guys to find these things too. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, actually, before I get too into it, I also want to just share because this is me and this is what I do. The setting, again, I mentioned that I am recording in my bed, and I just want to say how much I'm enjoying this. It's so nice to be low maintenance, and it's really tough because I know that we're living in a world on social media right now where there's so much pressure to increase production value, right? Like when I very first started this podcast, most podcasts didn't have video as well, but now like all podcasts have video too, and we're doing it in studio and we're paying all this money to do it in studio and to get it edited and to like do all these things. And I just like was feeling into it today and I was like, I don't really feel like being on camera. I just want to like be in my bed and record this. And I decided to just do that, even though I haven't done this in years. But it's so nice. It's so nice to be able to just pause this whenever and not need to like get up and like pause the video and also pause the audio and then like make sure everything looks right and double check again. Like when I typically do my podcast, like I've got to be really on for the whole hour. And yes, like we can edit things and cut if I need to do something or get up, but it's really nice that all I have to do is press one button to pause. I just did that. And that's why I'm sharing this. I just wanted to pull up my list of my favorite things. And then my dog came over to cuddle and I was like, oh my God, wait a second. Can I go back to just recording in my bed? Is that okay? Is that allowed? Are people going to still listen? I don't know. I almost feel like, it's interesting because you would think that you would get more authenticity and vulnerability watching the video of a podcast because you can see facial expressions. And I don't know though, like honestly, I feel like I'm just like talking to my like girlfriend who I would have over when my house is a mess and we can just sit in my bed and watch a show. Like that's how I feel talking to you guys right now in my bed, and it's really nice. Okay, anyways, let's get into my favorite things now. Okay, so I want to start with self-care. Okay, so self-care, favorite things self-care wise. So I want to share some hacks. These are less favorite things and more hacks, but I've been thinking about creating a podcast episode where I talk about little ways to bring more pleasure and nervous system regulation into your day. And I think that this is kind of related. I still might create that episode, but for now, my number one tip, like for self-care that I love to do, is to put candles in your bathroom. And if you like when you're showering at night, light the candles. Don't turn on the overhead light. Light the candles. This is so game changing. At night, like the shower, the warmth of the water really supports us in relaxing our bodies, down regulating the nervous system. But those freaking overhead lights are working against you. They are working against you, and they're working against the beautiful regulation and warmth and yumminess that's happening in the shower. So this is something that adds like almost zero time to your day, but just moves the needle so much. At least for me, it's so worth it. It's so juicy to light a candle or two. You don't need a lot of light. You know where your shampoo and your conditioner are. Maybe if you're shaving, you need a couple more candles, but I'm telling you, this is game changing. This is so game changing. Okay, so that's one of my favorite self-care things. Another thing is having a self-care stack by your bed. So I'm literally in bed right now, so I'm like opening my drawer. Inside my drawer, I have a little bin that has different moisturizers. It has gua sha. It has like cups for cupping, dry brush, tallow, like body oil, acupressure wand. It's got so many freaking things in here, and I don't use these every day or all the time. I almost always use the moisturizer like every day. I'll like do like a little mini face massage as I put on like my moisturizer in bed. Andrew and I, like, at the end of the day, oftentimes we'll like watch a show together. And so it's nice to just like be able to feel like while I'm watching my show, I'm also doing something that's like really nourishing for my skin. And yeah, so that's another hack that I have, is just like, and I have like a brush and like, I'll like, yeah, anyways, I've got like a hair mask. I do the hair mask like once or twice a month, and I don't have to get up to get it. Like, I just can open my drawer and say, okay, like, what self-care things do I have the capacity for right now? And I'll do those little things. So that's another little self-care favorite. Another self-care favorite is rituals with tea. Pretty much every morning I start my day with tea. Usually it's green tea. And then at the end of the day, I have a different tea, which I'll talk about later. I'm going to talk about my favorite teas and other herbs in a moment. So I like start my day with tea and I end my day with tea, and that feels really, really nice. So those are my favorite self-care things / rituals. Okay, let's get into self-pleasure, because this is kind of related. So this was something that you guys had asked about on Instagram as well. You guys asked about self-care. You also asked about self-pleasure. So, okay, favorite toys, things like that. So obviously I'm an affiliate for Wands, WAANDS.com. Use code Leola. You get 15% off. I love their products. I genuinely, like, I've been running this podcast for 5 years, and they're the only people that I've like put as an ad on my podcast, because I genuinely believe in the products. I use them personally. I recommend them to my clients. They're amazing. So my favorite products from them are, I think like the best value item is the Cervix Serpent. So the Cervix Serpent, they used to only have it in glass, and I have it in glass. They now have it in like limited edition crystals, which I love the crystals, because the crystals like rose quartz and obsidian and blue quartz, they all have a different frequency, which you can read all about on their website. But the glass one is a little bit cheaper. So that's why I mean, it's the biggest bang for your buck. It's the most economical, but it's great because you can use it to obviously reach your cervix. It's also great for G-spot play. It's also great for anal play. So I just like really love the Cervix Serpent across the board. Highly recommend. So yeah, that's my favorite wand. I also have the Amrita wand. It's great. I have like a kind of standard amethyst wand. I've got yoni eggs. All of it is great, but my favorite is the Cervix Serpent. And then they also have blankets. I think that they refer to them as free bleed blankets. Other retailers call them splash blankets, but basically they're waterproof blankets, and they're great for pleasure because yeah, like if you're squirting or you're bleeding or you're using a bunch of lube or oil or whatever, it's nice to just like throw that on the bed, and it feels nice and it looks nice, and you don't have to worry about ruining your shit. So highly recommend those as well. I mostly use them for free bleeding and honestly eating in bed. Andrew and I have quite a naughty habit of ordering takeout or like other yummy foods and eating them in bed, but we don't want to like ruin our bed and get a bunch of crumbs everywhere. So we'll just throw one of those down. So like honestly, we use it for those things just as much as we use them or more than we use it for pleasure. So those are my favorite kind of pleasure products from Wands. I also really like this product called the Water Slide. It's WATERSLYDE. Again, I'll put this in the show notes. I'm actually trying to find where it's from because I don't remember. I'm just like searching on my laptop really quick, which is another bonus of just recording without visual because I can just do this. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's from Lovability. It's a water masturbation tool. It's an aquatic stimulator is what they call it. They say our TikTok famous bath faucet attachment turns your bathtub into your favorite sex toy. That describes it pretty perfectly. Basically what it is it's like a plastic slide that you tie to your water faucet from your bathtub, and the slide basically transports the water from where it would normally fall at the very end of your tub to the middle of your tub. So you can position your body and your pussy underneath it, and then the water is like falling on your pussy Oh my God, it's so juicy, and it's only $35, which is insane. I don't get anything from this, just to be honest and clear. I do get a little kickback from Wands if you buy anything, but this is such a great buy. It's such a great gift. I've bought it for friends. Highly recommend the water slide from Lovability. That's another favorite little toy that I use. Let's see what else. You guys also asked about lubricants. So I'm a very simple girly in this regard. I love coconut oil, specifically refined coconut oil, food grade. That's the one that's liquid. You can get it off Amazon. I get it in bulk off Amazon. This is also like, we use this for our retreats and things. Two, what's great about it is, one, it just works really well. And two, it doesn't actually stain because it's refined. I don't know what it does. It makes it so that it doesn't stain. Now, we still put down the splash blankets or the free blee blankets, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, that's my tried and true, is the coconut oil. I have been playing around with some other lubricants as we're in the conscious conception portal, and some that are like supposed to be like really good for the sperm or whatever. When we conceived the first time, which ultimately ended in a miscarriage, we just used coconut oil. So I think the coconut oil is fine, but just putting that out there. I don't remember what it's called, what we use, but it works well. I'm like trying to see. I thought that it was in my bedside, but I'm not seeing it. So anyways, so that's the lubricant that we use, mainly just coconut oil. Let's go into lingerie, because this is also kind of sexy related. So I really like, there's a few that I really like. So one, for casual everyday lingerie that's also sexy and cute, it's kind of like girl next door vibes, is Cuckoo Intimates. COU Intimates. They are 100% cotton, organic cotton, 100% organic cotton. For those that have been following along, listening along, you know that a while back I switched all of my everyday clothing over to natural fibers, meaning 95% content or above of cotton, silk, wool, linen. That's basically it. Yeah. And it is life changing. It's game changing. If you're wearing polyester underwear, babe, wow, you're basically plastic wrapping your pussy. Like, you are asking for a freaking yeast infection. So anyways, I highly recommend Cuckoo Intimates for like every day. And they're also really cute. Like, honestly, I wear this stuff to play parties, and play parties generally you want to like dress up and wear your best lingerie. But like, if I'm going to a play party and I'm just like, I want to be laid back, I just want to be cute and comfortable, I'll wear my Cuckoo Intimates. Andrew loves them too. They're really like high cut, and I have pretty wide hips. I'm kind of like pear shaped. So that really, like, that silhouette really suits me as well. They also have really great loungewear that like I'll wear out of the house. That's another one of my favorite things in this season of life, is basically just wearing pajamas out of the house, like styling pajamas in a way that they can pass as regular clothing. And yeah, 10 out of 10 recommend, highly recommend. I did that for Halloween. My Halloween costume was basically pajamas, but I wore them with heels. I went out to a fancy restaurant in Hollywood over the weekend, and same thing. I wore pajamas, but I put a blazer over the top and wore some really cute boots. So yeah, that's just another little favorite thing. But Cuckoo Intimates for lingerie, everyday vibes. For more fancy stuff, Fleur du Mal is probably my favorite. It is also, they also have natural fiber options. A lot of their stuff has polyester because like lace and stuff like that, like you can't really make well with natural fibers, especially like in mass. And yeah, but a lot of their like base items are made of silk, or like they'll be mostly silk, but the trim is made of lace. So they've got a lot of really great silk options, which again are natural fibers. So yeah, Fleur du Mal, that's FLEURDUMAL, Fleur du Mal. Highly recommend. Again, I'll have a little document in the show notes. And then honorable mention is Honey Burdette. I have a couple of pieces by them. Definitely not natural fibers, but really feminine, cute, old Hollywood sort of vibe. Let's see. What else? Where should we go next? I'm like kind of jumping all over, like made this list, but let's go. This is kind of okay. We'll go to like skin stuff and things like that. So first of all, well, this is kind of not, it's sort of skin related, but it's also not. I didn't know what category to put this under, but it's sort of like rituals meets skincare, but it's these aura mist sprays. What are they called? These soothing mist. It's a soothing mist. So it's from Lotus Way, and they've got a bunch of different ones. I've tried 2 of them. They are a little pricey, but you know, what isn't these days when we're looking at like high quality products? I think they're like 55 or 65 per little spray bottle. Hold on, I'm like pulling them up. Aura Mists. Yeah, here we go. They've got like different flower essences, and they actually come in both mists and in tinctures. I really like the mist though. I also love tinctures, but I've got a freaking ton of tinctures and I don't use them as much. The mists for me are where it's at. So I really like the Sacred Heart one, which is for hope, resilience, and transmutation. I've had really beautiful, like the last couple of years have been like the most beautiful years of my life, the most expansive, but also some of the most challenging in various contexts. So anyways, this has been really supportive for me, for the hope, resilience, and transmutation. And then another one that I really like, I'm on their website right now. I'm trying to find it. I think it's this one, Divine Within, or maybe they stopped running that one. I don't see it. I thought it was something else, but maybe it's this one, Divine Within. I don't know. I don't know. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong, but you can get these from their website, Lotus Way. They also sell them at a bunch. Like I see them at pretty much every like boutique-y health and wellness store. In Austin, they're at Alive and Well. In Sedona, they were at some like really popular juice place. And then I saw them again at another like vegan place that everybody told me I should go to. So anyways, they're awesome. I really love them. I use them. I like to keep them by my desk at work. And like, also like for those that don't know, I only do calls like 1 day a week. And I usually have 1 week of the month off from doing calls, which I love. But that means that when I do have my call days, I typically have at least 3 calls, but up to like 5, maybe 6 max. And I try to after like every call or 2 calls, I try to have like at least a 30-minute break. But either way, it's just nice. Like it's a really nice palate cleanser for me in between the calls to just spray myself down with a little aura mist and reset. And then I also love having these for when I'm on retreat facilitating, especially when I'm here in Austin, Texas facilitating. It can get a little hot and these are really refreshing. I also use them when I'm doing tantric body work or when I'm doing like a ritual with my husband and I'm moving from doing one thing to another. So for example, you know, maybe I would be giving him a ritual foot bath and then I would want to move him to lay down on the bed. I might spray in between as like this like palate cleanser, if that makes sense. So these are just one of my favorite like kind of ritualistic items, these sprays from Lotus Way. Now let's get into my skincare and makeup. So my 2 favorite skincare products, I'm literally going to put one of them on right now because I'm feeling a little dry. The first one is called Moon Bounce and it's from Wildling and it is a moisturizer. It's called Moon Bounce. It is 2% bioretinol and it's a sea moss plumping moisturizer, 99.5%. No, girl. Sorry, my dog was trying to lick it. 99.5% natural origin, which is great. So obviously I'm also using, I'm talking to my dog again. I use obviously really natural products for my skin and my hair and my face. And I love this product. I've been using it for 2 years now. I think 2 years. I found out about it because my friend Britta actually started the company. And she used to do facials. She was like one of like the top facialists in New York. And lucky for us, she was living in Austin with her husband. She no longer does facials. She has a baby. But she put this on me during it was actually like maybe like I guess it was like 29 or something. It was just like the year that I really started to get serious about my skincare because aging, wrinkles, all that stuff. And she really recommended this. She did it. She used it on me during a facial and I loved it. And yeah, I've been using it since. I think it's the one product that I've been the most loyal to over the years. Like I've traded out other little things here or there, but this is one that I just keep on going back to. Another one. This one is a little bit newer to my arsenal. I think I started using it at the beginning of this year, so it's still been almost a year. And I have a feeling this is going to be another one that I'm loyal to for years. It's called the Antioxidant Balm, and it's from Primally Pure. I also use Primally Pure's deodorant, which I really like. They have like an aloe mist that I really like. But this one, it's nourished by nature, infused skin with antioxidant-rich botanicals and restorative vitamins to rejuvenate skin on face and body. The main ingredient is tallow, but then it's got like all of these other like botanicals and beautiful extracts. It's bright orange. I don't know. I'm going to put this one on too. I freaking love it. I love what it's done for my skin. I'm telling you, like I got a facial over the weekend when I was in LA, and I used to go in for facials and they would always be like, your skin is so dry. And that sucked. Like I hated going in every time and then being like, your skin's so dry. You need to moisturize better. And I would be like, I'm putting on so many freaking moisturizing things. Like, what do you want from me? I think once I started using this, nowadays they're like, you have such beautiful skin. And there's no comments about the dryness anymore. So if you're a dry skin girly like me, if you're a Pitta dosha and Ayurveda, I highly recommend the Antioxidant Balm from Primally Pure. Also, another one that I'll mention is from Monastery. They've got a really beautiful oil that I've used. I ran out of it though, and honestly, I'm not going to buy it because I feel really good about these other two products that I have. But they also have an aloe-based serum that I really like. So usually in the mornings I'll put that on first because my skin just sucks it right in like really intensely, and then I'll put on the antioxidant balm, and I usually put on the Moon Bounce that has the bioretinol at night, and then I put like a different tallow on over that. So yeah, usually my skincare is really 2 steps. I'll put on like something that's like a lighter moisturizer like the aloe or this Moon Bounce creamy moisturizer, and then I'll do something that's a little thicker like an oil or a tallow. I can't believe I'm doing this, but here we go. Full heart, full permission, and full womb. I am entering my mother season, and as I slow down to prepare for this next chapter of life, I feel more lit up than ever about empowering you, especially when it comes to business and money, because the world my baby is being born into, I want it dripping with purpose, pleasure, and power in the right hands. Your hands. So for a limited time, I'm offering 50% off my business and pleasure course. This is a self-paced path to building a business to 6 figures and beyond that feels as good as it looks. We're talking strategies, systems, and sacred energetics for the turned on leader who refuses to choose between impact and income or between hustle and joy. This course is for the soul who wants to scale from softness and sensuality and build something real and sustainable. You'll learn the systems that let you grow while living your life, the energetics of magnetism, visibility, and money, how to sell with soul and build offers from deep alignment, because pleasure and purpose are not mutually exclusive. And when people like us, the listeners of this podcast, when you rise, the world changes. So use code PODCAST to get 50% off. Yes, 50% off only for a short time, because I truly want this in as many hands as possible before I go into full-on goddess mama mode. And P.S., I highly recommend upgrading to the first class VIP tier to receive one-to-one support with me while you build, because it's going to be intimate, potent, and deeply activating. And with this code for 50% off, it's actually less than my typical one-to-one mentorship. Plus, you're going to get this whole course as well. So there just has never been a better deal. Go to the link in my show notes to sign up for Business and Pleasure. Use the code podcast for 50% off for a limited time. So that's my skincare regimen. I'm very minimal otherwise. I have a friend, Amy Edwards. She's been on the podcast. She's in her 50s and she looks insane. She's so hot. Her skin looks so good. And so I talked to her about like, hey, like, you know, I met with her this summer and I was like, look, I'm 31. Like, what do you recommend for someone my age for skincare? And she said, honestly, just go get facials. She was like, don't do the Botox. You don't need to do anything crazy. She's like, just go get facials regularly. And I said, sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I get facials. She said like monthly. I don't think I'm getting them that often, but yeah, I'm here for it. So yeah, that's my skincare. No Botox, no fillers, no anything crazy, just facials and some natural products. But we'll see. I'm not like anti-Botox. I'm not anti-filler. Like, I don't know. I would really like to never go down that road. And I don't know how I'm going to feel, you know, in 10, 20 years. And we'll see. We'll see. But my intention is to not. So TBD. Makeup. Also, I use pretty much all natural makeup. This will be quick. I use Ilia, ILIA. Some of my favorite products are their eyeshadow sticks. I also like their bronzing sticks and their blush. They're like cream blush sticks. Their mascara I've been using. That was the very first product that I bought from them like 3 years ago, and I still use it to this day. It's great. And then the other brand that I really like is Kosa, Kosa. This brand is also natural. I use their foundation. I use their eyebrow gel. There are a few things that I use from them that I really like. Between those two brands, I feel like I get all of my bases covered. And I'll also just share another favorite thing that I've done, not this year necessarily, but I've learned how to do my makeup and how to make it look good. This happened, I've always been kind of minimal makeup wise, but about a year and a half ago when I published my book, I started to go on a ton of podcasts and some quite big podcasts. And I was watching the video playback and I was like, God, like, I don't feel like I'm measuring up to some of these other guests in their glam and in their makeup. And like, yes, I'm beautiful, like natural beauty, whatever. But like, I don't know. I just wanted to look a little bit more refined and put together. And so you can go to Sephora and do like a makeup lesson, and it's like, I think it's like $70 or something, and they do your makeup for you. And then they show you, like, they'll tell you, like, here's what I'm doing and kind of teach you. And so I learned how to do proper contouring for the first time in my life and, like, just a bunch of other things. And it just really built my confidence around my makeup skills. And since then, I get so many compliments on my makeup. It's kind of insane. So I do recommend that as well. And, like, they show me how to do, like, really glam makeup, which I think that, like, yeah, like, I knew how to do, like, basic stuff, but it really boosts my confidence. I did it again. It's been over a year. And again, I had like a really big thing in LA this week, and I fully did the full out glam makeup for this. And I got so many compliments from the mysterious people that I was interacting with that I can't share any more about. But yeah, that's my makeup. Let's see, where should we go next? This is semi-related wellness, right? Herbs and supplements. This was another thing that you guys asked about. Okay, so where to begin with herbs and supplements? I'll first start with these teas that I started using. It's called Sync Botanicals, SYNC, Sync Botanicals. And they are teas that are tailored to the different phases of your cycle. So I think that there's like 6 different teas. So you have a tea for the first 5 days of your cycle when you're bleeding, and then you have teas that are meant to support your follicular phase, and then it switches to an ovulatory one, and then there's a couple of different ones for your luteal phase. I think there might be 3 different teas for your luteal phase as well. And each of the teas has different botanicals and herbs that support the phase that you're in. So for example, I know during like the luteal phase, they put Vitex into the tea, and that supports progesterone production. So yeah, I really like them. I've now been using them I started using them in August. So I've gone through 2 bleeds, 2 full cycles with them. I'm in my 3rd cycle of using them. And, I think that it's one of those things that like it takes time before you notice like major changes. That's how it goes with these more natural procedures, just like working out. Like you work out one day and you're not like, oh my God, look how strong I am suddenly. Like they're healing your body and it takes time. And I feel like after my last period, like I have enough data to say, yes, like I actually do feel like these are supporting my womb health. I feel like my cramps have gone down. I feel like the blood quality when I bleed has gone down. And I also just feel really good about having these at the end of the night. It's kind of like my nightcap every day. And it's just brought this ritual into my life. So I really love them. Sync Botanicals, SYNC. Another thing that I'm really loving is collagen peptides. So I feel like peptides are something that are super trendy right now. I'm pretty sure that a lot of peptides that people are using, like you have to inject, these are not like that. These are just, they dissolve in any beverage. So the collagen peptides, they're great for your skin. They're great for your gut health. And the ones that I use are from Fully Well, which is safe for all stages of motherhood, they say. So it's safe if you're trying to conceive. It's safe if you're pregnant. It's safe when you're like are breastfeeding. But they're really great because first of all, I just feel like awesome. This is like another way that I'm like healing my body and also supporting my skin and my longevity. But on top of it, it also has like 14 grams of protein per serving. So I'm getting this little boost of protein. And oh my God, I saw the funniest meme the other day where a woman was saying, she basically, I might butcher this, but she says something along the lines of, I am peer pressured so much more to eat protein today than I was to take drugs in my teens. And it's so true. Like protein, I just like so many people are talking about the benefits of boosting protein and like protein for longevity and like you need to eat your like weight in grams and protein and it's like so freaking much. And like I struggle with that because yeah, like I'm not like, I don't eat a ton of food to begin with. And I'm not one that wants protein at every meal. And so, yeah, like it can be hard for me to try to get in. Like I definitely don't get anywhere near like 120, 130 grams of protein a day, which is what people are recommending. When I was tracking my macros, I was shooting for, I think 80 grams and I was able to get that, but I did need to be intentional about it. Right now, I'm not tracking my macros, so I don't really know what I'm getting, but it's really nice to start my day and have, I'll put it in my morning tea and that's 15 grams of protein, just starting my day, a little boost. And then I don't feel like I need to have like 3 eggs and Greek yogurt and fucking sausage in the morning to get my protein because I have this little boost. I've actually started taking it now twice a day because I like it so much. And it's like, the way supplements go, I think that it's like a little pricey. I think it's around like $60 for 30 servings. So it's about $2 a serving. Maybe I think it's actually closer to $150 a serving because I have it on the like subscribe and save. But now I've been having it with my afternoon tea as well. Like I'll have like a snack in the afternoon and I'll throw another one in. That's like 30 grams of protein already. So like if I'm shooting for 80 grams of protein a day, that's more than a third of my protein already taken care of. On top of it, it's like got all these other incredible benefits. So I really love them. And they have it in 2 different forms. So you can put it in like they've got it in like a tub that you just like scoop it in. But just recently I also got these like little packets, which are great for travel. So I don't need to take the whole tub. I can just take the number of packets I think I'm going to use on my trip. So I did that for LA, which was highly convenient. So collagen peptides, again, highly recommend. And they don't taste like anything. That's the best part. I put them in my green tea in the morning, and probably if I did like a side-by-side test, I might notice a slight difference, but it literally, like, I don't taste it. So yes, they're great. I've done like protein powders and all that stuff, and they kind of like fuck up my digestion, and like, yeah, it's just not good. And they're like chalky, and you've got to like mix them into like you got to like make a smoothie, and it's a whole thing. So these are great because I can just put it into something that I would already be drinking, and I don't even notice it flavor wise. So that's another one that I recommend. I currently take more supplements than I've ever taken in my life, and I'm really proud of how consistent I've been with them this year. A lot of that has to do with just being in that conception period of my life. But I really feel healthier than I've ever felt. I feel like I have such great energy. The vitamins and supplements that I'm taking are tailored to me by a kind of energetic, intuitive healer that I work with. And then on top of it, I have additional things that I add, like my prenatal. I use Needed. Love it. Have had no issues. You do have to take like 8 pills a day or something crazy. But I actually I'm not taking that many currently, but anyways, yeah, that's the prenatal that I've been using. And then I take some other like fertility-esque supplements. Other things that I really like are chlorophyll. So I have experimented with chlorophyll pretty deeply, and it is chlorophyll, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. I'm like, hold on. Chlorophyll supplement. Yeah, okay, it is chlorophyll. So chlorophyll, you can get it in drops, which I've taken. I when I first started taking it, I was taking it in drops. It kind of has like this like minty flavor to it. I would put it in water. I stopped doing that because I just was like, I'm taking all of these other pills, and it's just easier to add another pill. But anyways, I now take it in little gel pills. And basically what chlorophyll does is it like detoxifies and it cleanses the blood. But I take it because it completely eliminates my BO. I used to sweat, and like I would have that like BO smell. And since I started taking this, like I don't even really need deodorant. Like I still use deodorant, but I don't really need it in the same way that I used to. It also is said to make your pussy smell good and your like juices smell good. Andrew never had an issue with that. I also never had an issue with it. I haven't really like done the taste test to know the difference, but I do know that it supported my my BO. So yeah, I do highly recommend chlorophyll for that. It's cleaning you from the inside out. Okay, what else have I not talked about? We've talked about that. We're coming to a close here. I'm getting into let's talk about some books and shows, some things that we do for passing time. So books, my number one book that I recommend to everyone is Conversations with God. This book I read when I was 20, and it changed my life. It blasted me open. I think that for those of us on the self-development path, we all have that one book that like really just changed everything for us. And that was this book for me, Conversations with God. It sounds like it's going to be really religious. It's not at all. It was one of those books that like I felt so affirmed and validated. It was like, these are all the things that I always felt and intuitively know, but I'd never heard anyone else put them into words. And I just felt so seen. It's actually a series. There's 4 books, and I love all of them. I highly recommend all of them, but start with the first one and then go from there. So that's that's probably my favorite book of all time. That's by Neil Donald Walsh. I also have to say Harry Potter. I'm such a Harry Potter nerd. The Harry Potter books were kind of like my therapy growing up. I grew up in an environment where like it wasn't really safe for me to express my emotions and to feel deeply, and Harry Potter was my vehicle for that. So I've read the books over 20 times. and I love the movies. Yeah, Harry Potter. What I'm reading now. So I'm not done with this book. So I feel like I wouldn't normally recommend a book until I'm done with it. I'm only like, gosh, I'm like maybe like a third of the way through. Let me see. Let me see where we're at. Yeah, I'm like probably like a third of the way through it. So this is kind of like rare that I would recommend a book this new into it, but it's so good. It's so good. It's called Radical Acceptance: Embracing Your Life with the Heart of a Buddha, Tara Brach. And I got this book because my anxiety around motherhood and conceiving kind of hit an all-time high last month. And I haven't talked about this much. It feels really vulnerable to share about this journey. I obviously shared that we got pregnant really quickly once we started trying in the late spring, early summer. And that was great, but then I miscarried, and that was really traumatic. We tried again. The following month, I didn't get pregnant. Then we took 2 months off. We just had Andrew and I like had some things going on in our family that just felt like it wasn't the right moment. Like we both kind of needed to just heal from the miscarriage and kind of deal with some other personal things and family things. And then on top of it, I also had my retreats coming up, and I was trying not to be in my first trimester during those retreats. So we waited until the retreats literally to start conceiving again. And so we're back in that like period of just like wishing and hoping and waiting. And I think that like going back into trying after having the miscarriage, just like the thing about miscarrying is that you process the miscarriage obviously, but it's like not one of those things like that you process it and it's behind you. Similar but different from death, right? Like I've also processed intense death and grief from death in my life, and that was really hard, and it definitely came in waves, and it was a different type of pain because you know that you're never going to see that person or that being ever again, and that's really challenging. But you also know that the worst is behind you, like it's done, right? Whereas with miscarriage, especially miscarrying with your very first child, you don't have another child, and like I don't want to speak to people that have a baby and then they miscarry. Like I don't know what your experience is. I'm just speaking to what my experience was, but I feel that miscarrying with your first brings up a lot of trauma because it brings up this like fear around, well, I miscarried once, like maybe I'm just never gonna, like I don't have the evidence of like having another healthy full-term pregnancy. And the truth is that the science is on my side. I don't want to go too deep into this. Like this wasn't my intention of this podcast, but I want to share why this book has been so supportive. So anyways, going back into trying again, it's brought up a lot more to heal with the miscarriage and a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. And I tend to run a little bit more anxious, but I've found ways to be with that through my tantric journey. But it just started to come up on another level, and I was looking for resources that really allowed me to be in acceptance of all that is, and also accepting myself. I also started to get really hypercritical of myself. And this book, Radical Acceptance, I've got to say, it is so good. It is so good. I'm reading it. I'm only a third of the way through because I feel like there's a lot of like practices in it and different things to try on. And I'm really just like trying them on. I'm really trying them on and giving them each spaciousness. So anyways, this one's by Tara Brach. So yeah, Radical Acceptance. That's another one I recommend. I can't believe we're at like an hour of recording. I thought this was going to be like a quick one, which is how it goes with these podcasts so much. But anyways, let's keep going. Shows. Here are some shows that I've been enjoying. So I'm actually going to like jump around a little bit. No, I'm not. I'm going to stay with shows. Okay. Never mind. I'm going to stay with shows. So the show that I'm watching right now is called Anne with an E, and I love it. I am in a season of life where I just want feel good vibes. Like I feel that so much content, TV, movies these days are geared to dysregulate you. Like they want to hype up your nervous system, which is addictive in nature. Like when something has a lot of violence or a lot of sexuality or a lot of like plot twists and like crazy things going on. I think that the best example is Game of Thrones. when it has a lot of that stuff, it makes it addictive, because what's happening is like you're feeling this aliveness in your body from the show, even if it's something that's like deeply painful or anxiety ridden, and it makes you want to keep watching. For me, it completely turns me off, because it's like, I know this is manipulating. Like, you are manipulating my nervous system. You are manipulating the receptors in my brain that make me feel alive. And it's not healthy for my body to be in this like state of fight, flight, watching a show. Like, this is meant to be the time that I'm down regulating and relaxing. And so I like to watch shows and movies that are really feel good, and are like deeply meaningful and moving for the human experience. Like, this doesn't mean that I don't want to watch anything that's gonna, bring forth like a nervous system response, but I want it to be like meaningful, right? And Anne with an E is based on Anne of Green Gables. So it's like a coming of age tale of a orphan who is adopted by this farmer couple who think that they're getting a boy, but then they get this girl, and like, she's going to school and she's the orphan. And so it's dealing with lots of like judgment and stigma. And there's themes of homosexuality, and there's themes of race and like racial divide. And it's just like, it's also historical fiction. And I love historical fiction because I also feel like I'm learning something. And it's just sweet and wholesome. There's conflict, but it's like, it's conflict that's based off of real things that are going on in the world. It's not conflict that's there to just like blindside you, you know what I mean? And I realized this during the pandemic. Like, this is when I started changing my watching habits, because what was going on in the world was already so intense that I was like, I don't need to add more things that dysregulate me to my day. You know what I mean? Like, we've got BLM riots like going down the street of my, like, where I was living in Hollywood at the time. We've got like, people dying of COVID, like, it was just an insane time. And so I remember I was watching Downton Abbey, and there's one episode of Downton Abbey. I don't want to like spoil it for people that haven't watched it, but this is like one tiny detail. There's one episode of Downton Abbey where basically this guy, like, he's at war for all of these years, and his wife is back at home in England, and I think she's like pregnant or like about to have a child or just had a child or something like that. And he comes back, he survives the fucking war, but then he gets into a car accident like right when he gets back and dies. And I was just like, I'm sorry, this was so unnecessary for them to do. Like, they could have just given us that, like, I don't know, like, life is sometimes like that. Yeah. And it's really, generally, it's not like there's highs and lows, and it felt manipulative to me. I'm sorry. So anyways, after that, I stopped watching Downton Abbey. It was too intense for me. So now I watch things like Anne with an E. Another one that I do like that's similar vibes as Downton Abbey, and actually has similar cast members, I think. Yes, but I don't feel like it's as like highs, like very like low, like intense, right? And it's The Gilded Age. The Gilded Age is so good. Highly recommend. I also watched Bridgerton recently. I loved that one. Thought it was so hot, especially the first season. I actually thought that it kind of went downhill from there. Not in such a bad way, but I just felt like the first season was so good and the other ones like just didn't meet it. Other ones I really like, The Great. Oh my God, The Great is so good. It also has a bit of intensity, but it's a comedy. So there's like humor that weighs it out for me. So you can see like all of these are historical fiction, and I just love it. So those are my favorite shows right now. We're kind of coming to the end here. This was another one that you guys asked about. What were my favorite events/retreats? This is a tough one for me because I have a really high bar. And honestly, this year has been a year where I've really been leaning back in every sense of the word. So I'm actually going to kind of jump around here and just, this is a little bit of a life update in general. I've talked about this a little bit on my podcast. In the spring, I had an episode called Confessions of a Pleasure Priestess. I had another one called Why I Don't Trust Women. And they were two kind of edgy episodes that really shared like what was alive for me in the moment. And also like, just like, I feel like this year, hi, sorry, my girl, my little sweet poodle girl, who's also one of my favorites, is just coming to give me so many kisses. I know. Thank you. Okay. I know. I'm almost done. Okay, I'm almost done. I love you. She also likes that we're doing this in bed because she gets to just snuggle up. Okay, what was I saying? This year, I feel like I have changed more on a fundamental human level than I have changed probably since the very beginning of my spiritual journey. This is the year that I feel like my values, my interests, my energy, my beingness, like they have changed. And I think that this is something that happens for a lot of women in motherhood. And I know that like a lot of you guys are probably listening to this and you're like, but you're not a mom because you don't have a baby, which is true. And I do feel like with my miscarriage, I went through an initiation, and I feel like what's been the most challenging for me in this season of life is that I feel like I'm in no man's land. I feel like I'm not a maiden anymore. I don't feel like I resonate with a lot of spaces that are held by maidens, or like new friends. Like I have a lot of friends that are maidens, but I'm not feeling like as drawn to invest deeply in friendships with new women that are maidens. And that's not to say that that's exclusively true, because it's definitely not. But I also just notice myself gravitating towards and feeling magnetized by women that are in their motherhood chapter. But at the same time, I'm not in that chapter either. I went to a child's birthday party this summer, and it was really sweet. And it was also like really sad for me because I was the only woman there that wasn't a mom or pregnant. It was after my miscarriage, and like honestly, like I'm getting emotional about it right now because it just was like, it was challenging to be in this space where like I can't relate to these women even though I really deeply want to, and I also don't feel like I fit in these other spaces, right? So anyways, it's been an interesting year. A lot has changed, but it all started, I feel like, and I'm really happy about the changes overall. I feel like I'm growing and I'm on track with my personal development. But I believe that it was possible because of the intention that I set at the beginning of this year. Almost a year ago, December of 2025, I was doing a work thing I was doing like a private retreat with a client, which was amazing. I was in a foreign country, again, all expenses paid, plus I was, paid, 5 figures to do the retreat. And it was one of those moments where I was like, this is what I prayed for at one point. Like, I'm doing what I always wanted to do. I'm making incredible money. I'm supporting someone in their growth and development. And I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to be home with my family more. I want to be traveling with my family and less for work. I just want to do less. Like, I really want to lean back. Last year, 2024, was such a building year for my business. And it had been, like, really since I started my business 6, almost 7 years ago, every year since then has been a building year. And then even before that, I was an independent contractor and I was a huge hustler. I was always hustling. So like pretty much since I've been an adult, I've just been building and going at it and like super in that like huntress era of work. And slowly over the last couple of years, I've been more in my queen. But this year, like at the end of last year, I was like, I'm leaning way back. I looked at my bottom line last year, and I had I think it was my second or third year in a row that I was in the multiple 6 figures. And I was like, honestly, like you could cut what I made in half last year and I would be happy if I could have more spaciousness in my calendar. So I made this like agreement with myself that I realized I don't think that I have to make less money. I'm just telling you where I was at last year. So last year I was like, I don't think that I have to make less money, but I am willing to make less money if it means that I can calibrate to motherhood and a new season of life where I have more spaciousness. And so I decided to do that. I decided to see, what would it look like to work smarter, not harder? What would it look like to do less? What would it look like to lean all the way back and just see what comes to me? And I'm really excited and proud to say that I did that. I have worked less this year. I probably cut my workload in half. I would say, I feel like that's a safe assessment. Most weeks I was working less than 10 hours. Maybe that's not true. I went through seasons, right? Like I would say in my busier seasons, I was doing retreats and things like that, and I was working, 40 hours. But then there were many weeks where I was working 10 hours, 5 hours. And I'm going into another season like that. Like for the rest of the year, I will probably be working each week. I will probably be working between 5 and 10 hours until the end of the year. And the last 2 weeks of the year, I won't be working at all. And the last month of the year, December, I'm going to be traveling internationally. So it's also going to be like less than 5. Like I have a couple of calls and I'm facilitating like one event. So anyways, I'm really proud that I've done that. But then on top of it, I still am going to be making more than I made last year. Not by a lot. Like it's about the same, but it's a little bit more, which I'm really, really stoked about. And is such proof that like, and such evidence of what's possible. Like I'm not saying that necessarily to brag, but to really just show you what's possible when you build a really strong foundation in your business and then lean on that structure and be more in the feminine and in the flow and in the magnetism. I'm also really excited because I magnetized 2 really cool opportunities from that energy of leaning back. One of those was selling a portion of my business. I did that without looking for a buyer. It just came to me. And that, contributed to my bottom line this year in a pretty big way, which is really exciting. And then also I had this opportunity that I got to take in LA this week, which again, I can't talk about, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, those 2 things were like 2 of the biggest things that have ever happened to me in my business and just feel like such a huge expander. And I totally manifested them, and I didn't have to do anything for either of those things to come to me. I just leaned back and I was in the energy of abundance. And I obviously laid the foundation in all those other years of my business. So anyways, that's been the energy that I've been in. And like, so I would say another favorite thing right now is just leaning back and like letting things come to me. But that kind of goes along the lines of like, talking about my favorite things, retreats and events, which you guys have talked about. So this year I went to the least amount of like self-development or like workshops or anything that I've gone to in years. And part of that was intentional and part of it was accidental. And yeah, as I was mentioning, first of all, yeah, I'm in this energy of leaning back and really wanting to feel into what feels aligned. Also, my standards are really high for facilitation. And gosh, like, I think just like the perfect example is like a couple of weeks ago, I did see this invitation for this event that felt so up my alley that I was like, all right, I'm going to go to this. Even though I don't go to a lot of like women's circles and things like that these days, I'm holding way more than I'm going to. But this one just felt so on brand. And I don't want to to give too many details about it because I don't want to like out anyone. I don't want anyone to feel bad. But it was really poorly held. It was very chaotic. The event started a full hour after it was supposed to start, with no communication about, hey, we're running late, here's what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And so it was supposed to be from 6 to 9. It didn't start until 7. I stayed until 8 and I was not impressed. So I left at 8 and it was supposed to go till 9. And then apparently it went way later. And I was just like, yeah, no. And this is why, because and I think that if you're wanting to know more about that energy and like why I'm frustrated, why I'm not going to as many women's events, I would listen to the episode, Why I Don't Trust Women. I think that there's a lot of women that are using their feminine fluidity and all of that, like, to not be responsible and to be out of integrity. And to not hold containers really well. So again, that episode is like a recent one. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys just really, really quickly. Actually, I can probably do it faster on my phone. So yeah. That's been one reason, is that I'm just really picky. Another reason is that I also just feel like motherhood is the next self-development opportunity for me. Like there doesn't feel like there's a lot in this moment for me, except for moving through what's come up around motherhood and just being with that and using the tools that I already have. And Andrew's kind of been in a similar place. We still have done things, but it's just been less than, well, that's not true. Andrew's done a lot more self-development this year. Anyways, so the episode is Why Don't Trust Women Calling Forth Integrity, episode 194. So I recommend that one if you want to know more about my feelings on that. But yeah, so that's been a piece too. I've also just been like in grief, and I've been moving through different feelings around my sisterhood and relationships. And I've just been in a less is more energy around like meeting people and friendships. And that's just naturally led for me to be more of a homebody. I also like completely redecorated my house, and I just love it. And I'm just like more in that season. But that being said, some of my favorite retreats and events that I've been to this year that I think were held very well include BPE, Big Pussy Energy, with Brittini. I actually don't think I have been to a class this year, but I just think that like as far as women's spaces go, Brittini does really well with her Big Pussy Energy classes. So I do really recommend those. And I feel like it's another one of those spaces that if you're brand new, you're super welcomed in and you're going to have a great time. And if you've been doing this work for a long time, you're also going to respect her and feel like this was well held. Another one is Kimmy Inch. I went to one of her play parties this year. You know, I obviously used to host play parties through the Naked Soul Society. So my bar is like kind of high for that. My expectations are high. She invited me to her play party. I felt like it was great. So I do recommend her. Andrew and I went to a event called Rituals in the spring. It was a 2-day workshop by Andy Buru. He's going to be doing another one in Miami next year. But it's tantric, but it's also really related to like conscious kink and power play. So yeah, I recommend him. Rena Trevi is another one. I went to one of her Shibari workshops this year. I've been to some of her other things. She's awesome. She also does private sessions, and I've hired her one-on-one as well. She's great. So those are some of my favorite like people that are hosting things. Another event that I was supposed to go to this year was Spirit Weavers, but unfortunately I miscarried and also my flights were canceled. So I was unable to make that one, which I was really bummed about. But I heard it was great. So I don't know. Honestly, I'm probably not going to go next year. But I heard it was great. But I just wanted to share like that was another thing that I was meant to do this year, but it just didn't happen. And I feel like it was just the energy that I was in, the energy of the world and the way things were flowing that I did a bit less. But I am excited. I did sign up for a new workshop, 2-day workshop in the new year. I'm going to wait until I go to report back, but I am feeling excited about that. I'm also thinking about doing a pilgrimage to France with a woman that's actually come to one of my retreats and holds them. And I've also gotten some other recommendations. It's like a Mary Magdalene pilgrimage. But I kind of need to see when I'm pregnant and what makes sense for that timeline as well. So TBD. So that's everything. Those are all my favorite things. This was quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. I can just go off on tangents. I don't know. That's me. That's just me. All right, loves. Well, I will see you in the spring. It was such an honor and a privilege to share some of my favorite things with you, to also give you a little life update. I'm sending you so much luck and love. Have a sexy and spiritual day and a wholesome holiday season. Ta-ta for now. If you are loving this podcast and are ready to take it a layer deeper into a more embodied practice, then I highly recommend you check out the Higher Love Club Vault. This vault has over 50 hours of transformational teachings on Tantra, sacred sexuality, shadow work, conscious relationships, money as a lover, inner child, divine feminine, divine masculine, so many incredible teachings and guest experts. And it's all self-paced and includes actual guided practices. The best part, again, is it is completely self-paced. So you can tune in whenever you desire. We have an app that you can log into and access at any time. And here's the real kicker. Guess what? I'm giving you a month for free. Yes, that's correct. Use the code EXPAND, EXPAND, and you will get 1 month for free. And after that, it's still only $33 a month for unlimited access to all of these incredible teachings. So there's like zero risk to try this out. Please check out the link in the show notes to join. It's the Higher Love Club Vault. Can't wait to hear how you integrate and embody these juicy teachings.